Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Bertie Roux podcast here on a Friday of Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. And today we're looking forward, and we're discussing this podcast at the topic today.
Ivan, I'm losing you every now and again. Are we live on air?
We are. Let me quickly switch my connection here. Hold on. Okay. Is that better? Nope.
I can hear you clearly.
Good. Right, let's see. It looks a bit better. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Bertie Roux podcast. It is Tuesday afternoon, 4 o'clock, or actually 3:30 today, and we're talking about the year ahead. Bertie, thank you for joining me on the show today. And how excited are you about our topic for today?
Thank you very much, and welcome, and best regards to all the listeners out there. I'm always excited, irrespective of the subject. Reflection on the past and projection and discussion of what to anticipate and to expect and to create, for that matter, for 2021 is as exciting as it can be. So looking forward to this discussion.
That's good. Let's kick it off and talk about some of the methods that we can use to make a success of 2021, irrespective of what we anticipate or what's going to happen. So, Bertie, would you say, I'll tell you why, this year by the 27th, 28th, 29th of the month, I go and I isolate myself and I go spend time on looking at what needs to be achieved or what do I want to achieve in the next year. So that's going to be 2021. And then I reverse engineer everything. So, I look at, by this time, I wanted to have achieved this. And so to achieve that, we need to reach these milestones and break the goals down into action points, etc., and actually book all those things into my calendar that I know that they are getting done. I actually found out there is a term for that. I think it's time blocking. And so a lot of the successful guys use it, like Elon Musk, etc., that I know you're also very fond of. And that's how they get things done. So as we kick off this talk, do you think planning is an important component for success for next year?
It is always important to plan, because if you don't plan, then you are planning to fail. So planning is important, but I am not a very good supporter of structure when it comes to planning and organizing your life ahead, because the world and life, in terms of realities that is facing us, is so impossible to plan and to structure and to say that is exactly what's going to happen. So in terms of planning, I plan to what should be happening. And in line with what should be happening, my first point of departure, and you guys know me by now, that I'm a proponent for creating a vision for you first of all, because that is where I want to work towards. In reflection, that is the second exercise that I wish to follow, because reflection of the past year, being 2020, is where I focus on what went right, what I enjoyed, what I love doing, and concentrate on that, because that is what I want to take into the new year, the 2021. Uh, the, the the negativities and all the things that went wrong, it was outside of my control, and even sometimes was in my control, but ended up to be a slight disaster, is things that I want to leave behind. So I agree with you. Getting some quiet time to reflect is important. But to me, the vision is the start of everything. That is defining that dream so you can get to your purpose for 2021. Things that you want to live towards and create.
Okay, so you're saying I have to go and I have to look at what is the vision for my life, the larger overarching kind of goal or vision. Then I need to go and look at, okay, if I break that down, how does 2021 fit into that, and what needs to happen in 2021? And then when I have that, then I can start breaking that apart and planning properly.
Absolutely. And the term I use is vision with imagination. So I'm imagining a 2021 which that I would prefer, that I believe that I deserve and I should work towards. And that in itself is probably an impossible dream for me for the next year. But that's where I start, because I don't want to start with taking 2020 into 2021 with nothing in between, because the moment I start doing that, I am building 2021 on the so-called foundations that I created in 2020. Now, 2020 in this case, considering COVID and the lockdowns, was an unnatural situation that created a new norm that is unknown to anybody of us. We just know that the past will not be a reflection of the future. So that we know. So how can I then move into 2021, but taking 2020 with me? Because I now need to say, I'm going to discard a few things and I'm going to keep some others. So your idea of starting off by finding me time, quiet time, where you go through 2020 and then you use 2020 as to build on for 2021 is fine, because that's a list that you can get all your positives and your negatives sorted out, and all the things that you love doing and you need to do more of. But I still want to move into 2021 with an overall dream for me for this new year, this absolute vision that I want to create for myself, which is mine. Whether I'm an employee of a company, an owner of a company, an entrepreneur, self-employed, is irrelevant. I want to create something for myself that I want to look up towards. And the up is where I want to find my vision, because I want to elevate myself. And that's why my symbol is the eagle. I want to elevate myself into space where I'm not limited to by any horizons, by any mountains, nothing. I elevate myself into the sky. And from the sky, I look at the globe, at Earth, and I look at Africa per se. Then I look at South Africa and I work from there. So I'm creating a vision for me up here. And I don't build my future on the here and now. In other words, this foundation. Because a foundation cast in concrete, I cannot move it. If need be, I want to lift up this house of mine and move somewhere else and place it there, because that is part of my vision. That's part of my dream.
Bertie, looking towards next year and considering things like being more effective, reaching your goals, being more productive, getting more out of your year and your time. I did an exercise with an associate of mine about 3 weeks ago, and we looked at my personal, like everything that I'm working on. And we looked and we said, okay, so what is the main objective that we want to achieve? Now, looking at business and so forth, this could be applied to your personal life as well. and then you say, okay, what are the things that you're doing on a daily basis that does not build towards that? Do you think that's a good exercise to engage in?
Absolutely, I'll fully support that, because we are so focused on just doing something that energizes me and that create positivity, that we will take this the smallest activity, for example, and do that, and then sit back and saying, I'm feeling great, I achieved this goal. That we end up filling our days and our time with mediocre little tasks that make us feel good, but it's not taking us closer to our goals, to our visions. We are just playing around here and superficially making ourselves happy because we are so inherently unhappy in the state that we're at. So it is good to make certain that you create is like just washing the dishes, so that you can just clear your mind and achieve some goal. You're taking the dirty dishes, you've washed it, dried, and put it in the shelves. So you can say to yourself, I've done well. Little tasks that sometimes make you feel good, but you can fill your days with that and go nowhere. That so it's good and it could be bad.
So you're talking about in your goal setting and the things that you're planning, working in things that you know that you're actually going to complete, you're going to do well in, and that you're going to win at, just because those things are going to keep you motivated and those things are going to make you feel good about yourself and your business or your personal life. Building in those things that you know that you're going to achieve and you're going to feel good about, because those are the things that's going to carry you through.
It can carry you through, but you must be careful that it doesn't consume you, because you can be consumed by, like I say, these mediocre tasks that make you feel good for now, but it's not taking you closer to your goals. There must be challenges that is impossible. There must be visions that is impossible to achieve, so that you can be challenged to come out of this comfort zone of yours and move somewhere else. Because if not, then you are staying in the past and you believe that the normal is what you've experienced and you can create it. You've got to start living in this new normal. And if you don't understand the new normal, create one. But that is will pull you forward.
I love the picture that you used there previously about washing the dishes. You know, often you walk into your house and, you know, there's this kitchen full of dishes, and it does the wonders for you if you just, you know, tidy up a little bit and wash the dishes, pack them away, etc. And it feels like a fresh start. I'm actually a big proponent and very happy about, I feel good about restarting things, just going back to the drawing board. A lot of times, especially in some of the organizations I'm involved in, you know, you find yourself at one point, you're like, things are just nuts. It's crazy right now. Things are not happening that they should. And so in those cases, I take the team and I take them back and I say, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go do the basics again. We look at our goals and the things that we want to achieve, and we just go back and we kind of reset. Do you think maybe a reset is something that's going to be necessary for 2021? Because obviously there's so many things that happened, and I think a lot of people's minds are still cluttered and not free thinking, because 2021 is people. I can see from the jokes and the memes that people make on Facebook, for instance, people are very fearful of 2021, that it's going to be something similar to 2020.
Ivan, I quite enjoy the statement of a reset button. But we can reset ourselves with the understanding that I just want to take it slow and then recap what has happened, where my life is at, and where to from here. But the concern is when we are in a state of flux like now, state of constant change into uncertainties, is that I believe we should also, in the terms of the reset button, be able to not just reset. I need to do introspection in that whole process. I must get to understand and and again start understanding and appreciating what Bertie Roux is all about. So that introspection of getting to my core, what makes me tick? What is important to me? What am I good at and why? Start asking that question over and over so that we can get to that, because we have end up doing a lot of things that we believe we're good at, that make us feel great, but as I say, is not taking us closer to any dreams anywhere. It's just temporarily feel good. And that is important. That's part of the whole reset, to get back to what I consider my norm. But I cannot stay with my norm. I must grow. I must develop. I must get up the staircase to the top. So that is important. And in terms of my view, when I look at the 2021, I need to start with an overview, which I talk about creating that vision. But then I want to move into insight. So because I want to look into myself and understand, who am I really? Because this person must take me into the future. And if I need to change this, not necessarily just change myself, but re-educate. It's like, upskill and reskill and sometimes unskill myself. That is part of understanding who am I that I want to take into 2021. So those things that I require to get me closer to that impossible dream, that vision that I've created for myself. So I'd say again, reset's important, but you must understand what is the principle of reset. If I can't get to where I'm going, reset, plan, and start afresh, start anew, and find your direction and go on that path, irrespective of how difficult it might look for now. So that is part of my process of quiet time, is not just to create a vision, but to sit back and say, who am I really? Once again, going into myself and my core. And I spoke today to this morning on the radio, and I just shared an experience that I had with one of my good friends. Let's call her Karen. Now, Karen is a very successful public speaker, mentor and coach, and also a very successful counselor. And she was sharing to me that she wants to relook at herself for 2021 because she feels that she's not enough. She's not doing well, and she's not creating enough for her clients, that she is failing her clients. And I let her go, and she kept on talking. And I know this lady is highly successful. But because what she was doing had become so second nature, she herself is doubting the fact that information that she's sharing, and the training and the mentoring that she's sharing, to her is so common. It's not common knowledge, that she doubted that she's adding value, and therefore is looking at herself and said, I am not enough. So we can get that too. So that's part of the reflection, that we look at ourselves and saying, who am I really? We must be able to tap ourselves on the shoulder and tell ourselves how well we are doing and how well we have done. That is part of reflection, because that is part of getting to what you're good at, that you should be doing more of, because those are the added values that you're taking into 2021, not just in your own interest, but in the interest of your clients out there. And for that matter, every single person that you end up making contact with, whether we're talking here live on Facebook, or whether we are on radio or we are on print, doesn't matter. That we must be able to say to ourselves, you are actually great, and give yourself the accolades you deserve, that you worked for. But that is part of introspection that you have to do before you can go on.
Bertie, you were talking about this person that you were interviewing, kind of, and I find, let's talk about this for a minute. I find that sometimes we're so entrenched in our expertise that we are busy with, you were using the word common knowledge, like the things that we deal with on a daily basis and we share, etc. For us, they are common knowledge, and so we assume that other people experience the same, perhaps that we're not adding value, and it's actually quite the opposite. I had an experience talking about that about a week or two ago. I was invited to do a keynote at a on an online event, and I was sharing. I've never done that before. I've just basically I shared some tips and knowledge, but I did it in a storytelling way. So I spoke about when I got started at a certain place and what was my journey there and what did I learn across the way, etc. And so for me, it was maybe kind of boring because I was relaying something really simple. And afterwards, the feedback was, we've written down stuff, and we're gonna, it seems like they took away a lot of things. And I think it's important that we speak to that specific point, that in our frame of reference, from our view, what we provide and what we share and what we have to give is very simple. We think it's common knowledge, and it's not going to make a difference. But for someone else, it could be quite profound. And in my business, I'm always telling people, listen, you should create media, you should do interviews, you should do videos, etc. My drive by now. And a lot of times people are reserved because they feel they can't give any value, and so they don't push their business to the next level.
I want to elaborate a little bit further, considering seeing what you're speaking about just now. Because part of this discussion I had with Karen was the fact that she was invoicing clients or putting out tenders and contracts and so forth, and the people were extremely, let's say, negative towards her in terms of the price she was charging. And that is my experience as well. And I think all of us that's listening as coaches or counselors or consultants, advisors out there, experience that on a daily basis. Is that we charge according to the value that we add, and not according to the time it takes me to share this knowledge and experience and to guide the individual. Because everybody must understand, I'm 65. 45 years of my life so far is let's call that after school and after university, is experience and learning that I have gained through University of Life, as to call it for short. So that experience I bring to the table whenever I talk to a client. So and that can also, like in Karen's case, and say, listen, I'm not enough. Because in order to advise and guide this client, it takes her 10 minutes. And she's saying, how can I charge XYZ for 10 minutes of advice? But it took her 30 years or 35 years to get to the point where she can put that knowledge together into a 10-minute presentation. And that we must understand. And that is what sometimes make us lose control of the true value. And as you said, sometimes what we share, what we do, can be profound, and we don't even realize it because it is so common to us, because we build it up over such a long period that we even doubt ourselves that we can have the right to do that. But the very same client has got no problem paying the doctor when he goes for a consultation to the doctor for what the doctor charges, or the mechanic when they're servicing the car, or the lawyer when they need a contract drawn up. But when it comes to the advice that we give them, that we struggle with that. And it's not just, and I'm harping on this and I'm sharing this with everybody out there because I'm quite passionate about this in terms of what I know and what I built up. You know me better than everybody else. I have probably spent a couple of 100,000 rand in the last 3 years getting to the point where I am today. You have to invest in yourself, in time and money, by educating, developing, growing yourself. And the more you do that, the more you can offer the client. You are able to assist the client irrespective her or his challenge that he's bringing to the table. And that's all experience. You can't educate yourself overnight and think, I'm this now, and I'm now a coach, and I can coach anybody out there. I'm certain as a coach, following the processes, you can guide and coach people quite rightly so. But there's more to life. And when we start talking about 2021 and we need some assistance and guidance, that is part of it, because we don't always know what we do know. And we hardly ever know what we don't know. So we need help to understand and get people to make us understand what we know that we can share. Because sometimes there's a lot of things that I know that I don't know, I know. So it comes out as I'm facilitating a process. So that's important. So that's what I shared with Karen. She must not take the fact that people are not willing to pay her fees as an indication of her competence or incompetence. It's just the inability to see the value that is brought to the table by consultants and counselors and coaches and mentors, because it's so difficult to judge and to value it at the spur of the moment. But we are digressing. I just thought I'll put it on the table because that's part of this understanding who you are. And I'm saying to you, Joe Soaps out there, this what we've shared just now in terms of what is your true value is also important that you get to know that, because that's what you offer to the employer that you work for. And if you really know your worth, then you will also know whether you are fitting into that organization, yes or no. Are you really valued for what you bring to the table? And if not, that will be part of the reason why you are not happy, because you're not fulfilled. Then in the introspection exercise, understanding who and what you are, part of your 2021 planning should be to find that position that will fulfill you completely. Okay, so that you can be happy in what you do. In other words, love what you're doing, and then you will be fulfilled. And being fulfilled means work will energize you, and you will come home and go to the work in the same state because you just love doing it. It just keep you going. It's like myself, and I can speak for Ivan. We can do what we do right now, days at end, because we so love it. It's so fulfilling. Yes, it's tiring, but it's also energizing.
Bertie, you were talking earlier about impossible, and can we spend a little bit of time on impossible goals, impossible visions, entering and going into 2021? How impossible can something be? Because I know you also bring balance to that conversation when you say impossibility versus reality. And we had a couple of those conversations on these calls before, but how big should I be thinking? How big should I put my goals out?
If your mind can create that vision, it means that there's a very good probability that you can achieve it. You might think that you can't, but I can promise you, if you've really thought about it, you'll find a way. And that's why when I sit with organizations and I go through the process of creating this impossible visions for them, the same question comes to the fore. And so listen, why do we spend time creating impossible visions? I said, no, let's take that vision that we've created and we ask ourselves the what if question. And therefore we break this impossible vision, this impossible dream, up in smaller chunk, and we ask ourselves, what if it's possible? Because the moment I get an answer to what if it's possible, it becomes more possible at all times. It's like people saying to you, I cannot do this. I'm to this, I'm to that. And you say, okay, fine. I understand that. You can't do it. But let's just assume, what if you could do that? What if? Because I'm telling you, I can't do it. I said, no, I understand that. I fully agree. But let's just joke. Let's just have fun now. What if you can do that? And all of a sudden, the person will say, if I could do that, I would be doing X, and I would do Y, and I would do this and do that, and off this person goes. You often find that you can hardly stop this person, because he has now not been limited by anything other than sharing a solution to something that's impossible. And when he's finished and run out of words almost, he says, okay, fine, well, that's so difficult to answer the question, what if I could do that? So what if this vision, this impossible, imagined vision is possible? What if? So if you could answer that question, then I promise you, you can create it. You could do it. You can make it. So just a what if question. And then in conclusion, I often then say, if person say, okay, fine, I can't do it. Then I say, okay, fine. You can't do it yet. You can't do it yet. Y-E-T. Yet. Because if you can't do it, you don't need the yet. So that's your motivation. That's your motivator. I'm quite happy that I can answer the question, I can't do it yet. So in my mind's eye, it's just a matter of time. Then I will be able to do it. So that impossible vision becomes possible. And all of a sudden, if that is so clear, that impossible vision of yours come to the here and now, and you start living it. And the moment you start living that impossible vision of yours, that dream, you are living a reality. And you're talking about facts. I mean, we all know that your facts and my facts are going to differ, because my perceptions become my facts. That's why facts would differ. And facts is not what is one and one. We know that's two. We know the apple doesn't fall up from the tree, it falls down from the tree. So there's certain things that we've learned and we understand, and other people have documented for us and say those are true facts. But most of the facts that's limiting us is the perceptions we built into certain facts, and it becomes our reality.
Bertie, let's end off by I want to ask you, let's inspire the audience, people that's watching this video. Can you share with us your goals, your personal goals or your goals for 2021? What do you want to achieve next year?
I want to build on what I have created and started created in 2019, 2020, to become a sought-after international speaker, inspirator, and motivator. What I'm doing here, known by many, and be able to say that I've made a difference to other people's lives. And but the bottom of that is just to create people to believe that everything starts with a thought. Trust your thinking and trust your thoughts. So don't let other people tell you what you are capable of or not capable of. You are capable of much more than you would ever imagine. And the same applies with me. I've been recognized in 2020 for things, and I never was looking for those recognitions, and I just got those recognitions because that is how life is. You focus on what you're good at, what you love doing, and the world will do the rest. The law of attraction will look after that. So if in conclusion, I'm looking at 2021 and I talk to people, as you know, I talk a lot about the principles of thought, which is overview, in my side, insight, and foresight. So I don't want to elaborate on that. If you want to know more about it, please go to my website, bertieroux.com. The presentation that I did in Mumbai in February this year is there, posted there, and a lot of other chats on the subject to be done. What I want to leave with you and share with you is the principle of rebirth. Principle of rebirth. Now, we can talk a lot about that, but that by implication means change to yourself, transforming yourself and adapting to the new world out there that has been 2020, the past, and that is coming, and preparing yourself in terms of aligning your thoughts with your dreams, which should be impossible, because that is how big you must think, because you are capable of doing that. Don't limit yourself by thinking from the base that you're at the moment. That is not challenging you, so that you can move into, creating a new image for yourself. And if it needs be, change your hairstyle, the color, grow a mustache or cut it off. But just do something that you can look at and experience every single day that tells you and supports you in saying, I am good enough because I know who I am. I don't care about anybody else. And when I say I don't care about anybody else, I don't mean use people as stepping stones for you on your way up. Just remember, there's on the way up, you sometimes need people to catch you on the way down, because you don't want to fall all the way down to where you started. So don't use people as stepping stones. You need them, and you might just need them. So don't burn the bridges. Okay? You need that. So people are very important to us. But the most important at the end of the day is me. Because as I say, I'm enough. And if it's to be, it's up to me, not anybody else. So if I'm looking to somebody else to open the beach so that I can go and put my feet in the ocean, it's just not going to happen. Okay? So just create your own future. Ask the what if question and add in the yet. And 2021 would be in the palm of your hands to make or break. It's up to you.
Awesome. On that high note, I want to end off by just mentioning we are looking to launch a new course in probably 2021. It's going to be called Vision with Imagination. Bertie is working very hard on getting the finishing touches of that. We've done a lot of prep and a lot of work behind the scenes and in the darkness to get this thing together. It's going to be phenomenal. Watch out for it in 2021. We're going to probably start promoting that very early in 2021, but we want you to be a success, and we know we can help you achieve that through this program. Bertie, again, thank you very much for spending time with me today. I'm looking forward to our session next week and just ending off this year on a high, and I'm looking forward to helping you and working together with you to achieve those goals of yours.
Thank you very much. And as I said, if it's to be, it's up to me too. So that is my challenge. And to everybody out there, thanks for listening. Do follow me on the podcast and YouTube. Love sharing some time with you. Thanks for listening once again.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Goodbye for now.